It'll tell us that we're live. There we are. Oh, let's hide you for a second. Okay, we're back. It's Thursday and it's 3:03, so we're a little bit late. Sorry, but we've all had some technical difficulties. The joys of trying to run a program from home. We had Wi-Fi issues, we had headphone issues, and but anyway, we're all good. We're all here. So thank you for taking some time to join me today. And we're going to be talking with Pat Birnie of Pat Birnie Health. And we're going to be talking to Sam Brabender of NEORA. And they're going to enlighten us on what they do and how we met. And we're going to have some fun. Just to tell you, these two ladies, I've known them for a couple of years. And I was pretty intimidated when I first met them. But they are so much fun and they're so helpful and they're beautiful people. And I'm so thrilled to have them here today. So without further ado, I'm going to let Pat introduce herself. And it's going to make me go a little bit bigger. There you go, Pat. Take the floor.
Hi, well, thanks, Andrea, for inviting me and Sam to be on today and for that lovely intro. I cannot believe you were intimidated by me. I feel like I'm the least intimidating person ever.
Well, I didn't know you yet.
Yeah, of course. So we met, Andrea and Sam and I all met through Busy Women, a wonderful entrepreneur community. And we're all entrepreneurs out there trying to, I would say for the most part, 80 to 95% of us just want to make a difference in the world. And that's where my entrepreneurial journey came from. I worked in corporate for many years and I had an okay job. Life was all right. But I was approaching 50, so over 15 years ago, I just started to feel like I really wanted to do something and where I was going to have an impact in the world. And my husband and I were on the same page. He wanted to start investing in real estate. So we were just looking at a few different businesses. And because I've always been very active and healthy and a long-time runner, and I like to take care of myself, that was a natural fit. So I opened a gym, which I ran for 5 years, and I changed lives. It was amazing in that sense, but I really burned out. This storefront business, I don't know, is for me because I really do like to have some balance in my life.
Yeah.
So from there, I ended up evolving into a partnership, actually while I had my gym with USANA Health Sciences, because I spent about a year looking for high quality products that I could trust for my clients and members. And it was actually a tough journey because it's not a very highly regulated business, nutritional supplements and dietary, that type of product. So when I found USANA, it was a great fit. The science and the integrity behind the company, I thought was perfect. And I thought I'll just do this a little bit on the side. And then 4 or 5 years later, I'd been running the gym, as I said, and impacting lives, but I was burned out. I was working 80 hours a week and we always paid our bills, but we never really made any money. Meanwhile, I was getting a little paycheck there every week.
So is that just for gyms? Because a lot of people will think about doing that. I know someone else that runs gyms. So gyms they don't make money. I mean, like they charge for memberships and then you have to have all the personal training programs and all the stuff there. But I didn't know that they were not, they weren't a money maker. Like I didn't know that about going to a gym.
I wouldn't say they all are, but there was a lot of competition. Say ours was a very studio type facility, very one-on-one. Probably 70% of my members were over 60 and they felt comfortable and they trusted me and I worked with them one-on-one. But of course, we can't compete with, at that time, 2004 to 9 with the gyms that are charging $10 a month because they may have 50,000 members, only 10. Right. If all of their members that belong showed up, they'd be in big trouble because they just don't have space for them.
Okay, I'm going to just pause right there because I'm not sure, but Sam, can you hear like static when Pat's talking? Because I can hear it through my headphones and I just want to double check that.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. So I'm just going to say, Pat, either if you come a little closer to your laptop, I guess, or if you have a set of headphones, if you want to plug them in. If not, I'm just getting some feedback. And first I thought it was mine because I'm having the technical issues today and I thought maybe there was something going on. But if not, we'll just keep on plugging all the way through.
Hopefully.
Okay, so you don't do the gym anymore. You just do USANA.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I transitioned. I did a little personal training as I transitioned, and then ended up. That's what I focus on. USANA plus we have real estate property, so we have a family.
Yeah. Pat is who I want to be when I grow up. Just so everybody knows. That's where I'm going in that direction. Okay, we have Faria and we have Eva. So hello, ladies. And now we're going to give the floor to Sam, and Sam's going to tell us a little bit about her business and how we met and just what's going on with her right now. So go ahead, your turn.
Well, thanks, Andrea. So, yes, I guess the three of us all met through Busy Women. That's such an amazing place to meet other women entrepreneurs. And just listening to Pat's story, it makes me realize, I mean, we've known each other for years, see each other. I don't know whether we've actually sat down and had a chat. So this is lovely to be able to chat with both.
Yeah, all three of us together, we've never done this.
Yeah, because we have so much in common, Pat. So if I go back in my story, my first job was corporate marketing. I worked for Kleenex for 10 years. That was my dream job. Loved it. There was I lived in the UK at the time, lots of European travel. Completely incompatible with having kids, though. At least I think so. So when I was pregnant, I knew I didn't want to go back full time. Was considering my options when, long story short, we actually had to move for my husband's job. And we moved to the other, I mean, England's not that big, but we moved right to the other end. And I suddenly thought, okay, I had to resign. Everyone was like, what are you doing? You're crazy. My parents are like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was going to do. But what I thought I needed to do was actually lose some weight after having a baby. And I was actually a trained fitness instructor. So I thought, okay.
I didn't know that about you either.
Yeah. So I thought, I'll do some classes because I need to lose some weight while I figure out what I want to do. Anyway, that grew. 10 years later, I'm still doing fitness. I had moved to another location, kind of built a team, absolutely loved it. And it was all about empowering women. And I actually specialize in the 50 plus age group because I found that so interesting. That got me into cardiac rehab, which got me into counseling, which got me into coaching. So by the time I moved to Canada 12 years ago, I was really focusing on coaching. So again, it was still empowering women, but rather than working with them physically, now it was mentally.
Yeah.
And there was a reoccurring theme that kept coming up because I was working with a lot of stay-at-home moms that had previously had fantastic careers and now had kind of put that on hold to bring up their kids.
I was one of those.
They lacked that confidence to go back into the workplace. They couldn't go back to what they were doing because they felt that they were too far behind.
Yeah.
Or they didn't want the long hours that they were prepared to put up with before.
Yeah.
And I wondered, well, what is there? Is there something that they can do? There seems this wasted potential. And that's what got me into network marketing. And I realized here was a way of helping women become entrepreneurs overnight because our business is all about, business in a box. And so hence
I like that, business in a box. That's really nice. That's a nice way of saying
mission is all about unleashing the entrepreneurial power of moms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I was home having my kids and I went back to school to learn interior design, I always thought that was something I always would love to try to do, is to take the power of the moms that from 9 to 3, when your kids are away at school, you have time. And there's lots of talented ladies out there that don't have anything to do with it. And I always was trying to figure out how I could have a staging company or a design company and just hire the moms from 9 to 3 and just drop your kids off, come to work. I knew I was going to get quality results. And then 3 o'clock, they had to go and be back on the schoolyard again. And I thought if I ever got big enough, if I ever could put something together, I would just only hire moms specifically because they need it. And they're talented. And I know that they're committed, because if you can run a household and you can make sure little people stay alive, you can do anything. Like, you really can. So that was good.
Yeah, and there's kind of I think as we grew up, it was all about, things were changing. There were so many more opportunities for women that I always had this kind of guilt. It was like I wasn't really matching my potential. And, I'd gone to university doing all this. So I think a lot of women feel like that they're having to compromise all the time. And they feel guilty if they're not contributing financially to the family. So I think if you can give it
for a long time and then all of a sudden you're not. So Morella's just here, so you can wave and say hello to Morella, because she just talked there. Just to try to say hello to whoever shows up. I thank you for taking the time to watch. Yeah. So when you're working a lot and then you're on that kind of career path and then you have kids, it is a struggle for a lot of women, because you lose part of who you are leaving that workforce. But you know that what you're doing is just as important, if not even more important, to stay home with kids. And it's not fair to feel like you're less than when you're home watching children, because actually you're more than when you're staying home watching kids. I mean, it's a
most important job in the world.
It's 24/7. There's no paid breaks. There's no paid lunches. There's no vacations. And you think about it, it's not babysitting. There's a whole lot that goes into making sure that children are raised correctly. Your home is set up safe. You can pay the bills and keep a roof over their head. Like there's all these different skills that you have that you have to do. I called myself the CEO of my household. I ran my company. My company was my family, and I ran the schedules, and I ran the kids' activities, and I ran my husband's business when he was self-employed, and I, did school council, and I went back to school. Like I ran it like a company because it's a business to keep everything moving clearly. And yeah, I think moms are great for this kind of sort of thing.
I think it comes down to really all about choices. And I think, if you've got something that is really important to you in a fantastic career, I think that's fine to delegate those jobs too. And there's certainly a lot of things that was much better somebody else was doing it with my kids rather than me. But I think it's just nice to be able to have the choice. Do I want to stay home, or do I want to do something part-time, or do I want to go back full-time?
Yeah, and not having to be pulled in different directions.
Yeah.
Do what makes you feel good. Okay, so we're going to get started with some questions. I hope you got the questions yesterday. I was doing this a couple weeks ago, and somebody actually, I can't remember who it was, but they answered all the questions, and we're like, so I went out of order. I was asking the questions out of order, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go through and pick what I think is appropriate for what we're talking about. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had to do them in order.
I didn't write anything down, and I have to tell you, there's a few questions I think, I have no idea how I'd answer that, so I may just pass.
Yeah.
Wing it. Yeah, I just didn't want you to kind of
feel
go.
the same, Sam?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what?
Well, I try to change them a little bit every week so that they're not all quite the same, because I try to sort of take a look at some of them don't fit some of the people that are coming on, or I have some really great questions, but I'm like, I would never ask that on a public forum. I might ask that for you privately, but I would never do, Tell me about your first kiss. No, not here, because this goes everywhere. This goes to YouTube. This goes to Facebook. I'm not doing that here. Like, Sam and I, or Pat and I, could probably do it sitting having a cup of coffee or over a glass of wine somewhere, but I'm not doing that here. I'm not doing that yet. Alrighty, so we'll put Pat on the hot seat first. Okay, so when you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up? Or did you have any ideas?
A teacher or a nurse is just pretty standard for a little girl, I think.
And that was what you thought you were going to do.
Yeah, and I was, interestingly though, I had great parents. I had a great upbringing. There was 5 kids, but 4 girls and a boy. And my parents just assumed that we would get a job as a secretary, have kids, and stay home. So I was never encouraged to go to post-secondary education. Yes. And that's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. And I did go to school. I started back at University of Miami in my 20s just because I felt like I just didn't feel educated. I was a little bit bored. And that way I was able to work myself up to the corporate world.
Yep.
But I think I'm very, I am very, my most important thing is my family. And I bet you too would say the same. And I really would have stayed home with my kids. I unfortunately ended up being a single mom, so that would have been kind of tricky with 4 kids. But I really would have, as you ladies did, I would have loved to have been home for a few years. So I'm pretty.
Yeah, it wasn't my first choice to be home with my kids. I never thought that would be where I'd be. I thought I was going to be the corporate bitch running the ladder. And I was, engaged at 21 to somebody else, and we broke up when I was 25, and I was going a different direction. And I looked at my mother and I said, look, if I'm 35 and I don't have a man and I'm not married, I'm getting artificially inseminated, just to be aware. I want to have a family. And she was like, I can do it on my own if I have to. I'd prefer to have a family, not just a child, but that's where we're going to go. But so for me to stay home was really weird, because anybody who knew me at that point in my life, my friends, my family, would never have guessed that I would be the stay-at-home mother. I was going to be the one working, and my kids were going to be going to babysitting or daycare. It just worked out that it was a financial decision more than anything, how it happened. And then from that, it grew into leading me down a different career path. Instead of going into telecommunications and management and training in that way, I went a different road. But so it's kind of weird that I was the stay-at-home mom, which was strange. But it was good, because you have children and you're going to love your kids. But for me, when my son was born, I was not prepared for how much in love I would be with my children.
Yeah.
That really shook me because, you know, you're in love with your husband and you love your family and your parents. But when I had my son, that was just a whole different level. And it was just that colored everything that I did in my life moving forward. That's how it felt for me when I had my kids. And so, yeah, you make decisions based on that. So,
when I was 25 or so, I really loved my job where I was working, and I actually was thinking I didn't want kids, and then I ended up with 4. And
you were busy.
my first child was born 38 years ago today. So
I know. Happy birthday! It's your daughter, right? Yes. Okay. So happy birthday.
It's just you have no idea. You think you know what you're expecting and how much you're gonna love this, but
No,
it's
none.
a blow.
None. Okay. All right. Let's go to Pat. So, all right. I know you have a cat. You have one cat or 2 cats? Pat. Sam.
One cat.
One. Okay. So I knew you had a cat. So if you could ask your pet 3 questions, what would they be?
Oh, right, that's a new one. I didn't see that one. If I could ask my pet 3 questions. Often I look and I'm like, what are you thinking? Are you just laughing at us all? And I do honestly think they're just like, this is a madhouse in here. The other thing, my cat used to be an outdoor cat, and we were going to put a tracker on it because I would love to see where do they go and why.
Oh, yes.
And do you go out with a plan, or are you just completely instinctual? And
as you go.
And thirdly, what would I ask? That's interesting because I know what makes them happy because they purr, but maybe
do they think that does he think he's in charge, or does he know that?
Totally in charge, completely in charge. Completely in charge. So I think it would be, are you looking at us like right now, we're all at home, and I saw this great cartoon, it said all the dogs are so happy, the family's home, whereas the cats are going, what the hell happened? Please go away. So yeah, are you enjoying us being home right now, or are you thinking, yeah, you need to leave, leave me in peace?
Yeah. My cat's enjoying us being home because she's followed us everywhere we go. Like she's sleeping, there's blankets because she sleeps wherever she wants. I don't like cat fur all over everything, so we all have these little fuzzy blankies, and every couch and every bed, all these blankets all over the house in every single room, and that's where she goes. So wherever there's a blanket, she will sleep on the blanket. And so she's got blankies everywhere. And when everybody starts to leave again, my son's gone back to his apartment, my daughter's going back soon. When everybody starts to leave and there's empty rooms again, those blankets are disappearing. And I know I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that again. I know that's going to happen. That look like, it's not happy look. Okay. So where are we going here? All right. So let's go to, okay. So here's something. What profession would you, do you want me to give you a sec?
Yeah. Go to Sam.
Okay. So, all right. So Sam, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I think this is a really interesting one in the sense that when I grew up, there's 2 things that I wanted to be. One, I did have this image that I'd obviously seen it in a movie. There was this woman, she lived in New York, she was right at the top of the building, and she had a global business. And I thought, be her. So I always kind of knew that I wanted to have my own business. But at the same time, and it was probably from another program, I always thought it'd be really cool to be a psychiatrist. Because I love listening to people, and I thought you could just listen to their problems all day. And that's partly why I did do, as part of my evolution, I did a counseling course. And I actually found that the most frustrating thing in the world, because we had to keep going back into their past and have them go through it. And I got so angry with that. That's what led me to life coaching. I was like, there has to be a quicker way to get people out of it.
So you have no patience.
That's my second choice, and I kind of thought, yeah, that's not for me.
Okay, so it's lack of patience. So anything that doesn't have patience.
I'm just like, this person's in pain. Let's get them out of their misery and into something a lot more proactive.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if it's these are the same ones I've used all the time, but I'm getting a little bit of feedback from you, Sam, too. So I'm just
Okay.
wondering. If anybody does have earphones, that's why they're wearing them, because it helps with them. So if you do have them and you can connect, that'd be great. If not, it's fine.
Let me see if I can go and grab them, see if that helps.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's from the streaming service, because I was having some problems earlier. But we'll just wait and see what happens. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go to Pat. Okay, what's the first thing you bought with your own money? Like when you were out there and you were working, or if you had a part-time job when you were a kid, what's the very first thing that you remember buying and thinking, like, I made this, I saved my money, this was a really big deal to do?
So if I can just put this in perspective, that was probably about, okay, I'm going to be 65 in August, and I think I was 14 or 15 when I had my first job, or before that I was babysitting.
Yep.
That was a question, like, I have no idea. I remember going on an outing to a little fair, and this is the silliest thing, with some people, a family I babysat for, and they used to take me, it was great, they take me all kinds of places with just to watch the kid, help out with the kid. And I bought a rabbit skin, and I came home and I made it into a little purse and put a strap on it, and I was probably about 14 or 15. And I would say as soon as I had a bit of money, I liked to buy some items of clothing, because I was the fourth daughter.
Yes.
And I didn't get a lot of
hand-me-downs.
big clothes. And I was the youngest girl in our big family. So I had cousins that, there was one or two girls. Bags of clothes arrived at our door constantly, and I would be, by the time I was 14 or 15, I'd be like, oh my God, like somebody else's clothes again.
Yeah.
So I do
My
remember.
mom remembers telling me, my mom was the youngest of five, and there was three older sisters, and there was her brother, and then there was her, and she was the same, and she grew up, like her mother's, I can't tell you her age, but she grew up during,
Probably my age.
no, she's older, and she might be watching, so I might get in trouble, but she was very young during World War II, just put it that way. So that's where she grew up, and she grew up in Northern Ireland, and everybody was struggling, and life was the way it was, and everything got passed down from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And so the same thing went. She was out of school when she was 14. They only went to school till 14 back then. They start early, and they was stopped at 14. And she remembers her first full-time job, making her own money. And she would go, and she was buying herself like brand new shoes and a brand new coat and a brand new skirt, because the same thing, everything came from your other siblings, and you had to patch it all together, and you had to take it in here and hem it up here, and nothing was ever new, or a piece of this and a piece of that, and kind of mush it together and make something new. So to this day, my mother is a clothes person. She's watching, and if she's far enough away, she can't hit me. But I remember when she moved a few years back, and I was helping her stage her home, and going through her 3 closets she had in her bedroom. And I counted, and this is not a word of a lie, I swear to you, she had 35 pairs of black dress pants in her closet. And I looked at her and I said, there's 30 or 31 days in the month. You can't possibly wear these every single day. And then they were different sizes. I was like, Mom, you only really work 20, 24 hours, 25 hours, like days in a month. Why do you have so many pairs of black pants? Like, but I shouldn't complain, because
I'm not by any means a clothes horse, but I do remember it was kind of exciting to go and pick something out.
Yeah. And I think that's what happens with my mother, because, she collects stuff. She like new clothes and new shoes and things like that. And she always wants to have something new for the season, or something, going out somewhere to a party, or getting dressed up and going somewhere. She's got to have something new there. And I think that comes from growing up during the war, not having anything, having everything secondhand. And I think that's, I wonder if I can, I'm having issues here. Lots of garbling. Do I sound garbled to everybody?
Yeah, there's a little bit of static.
There is something
here as well.
I don't know what's happening. Okay, I'm really sorry about this. I don't know how to fix this while we're talking. If I take these out, you can still hear me, right? Is it still garbling?
Yes. It's a little bit, would you say a bit better, Sam?
Yeah, try it without. Yeah, I think that was better. Try talking to us now.
Is that better?
Yeah.
It's not so garbling.
Yeah, that's much better.
I wonder, there must be something with my mic. Okay, I'll just leave the one in so I can hear the ladies, and I'll just I'll type that way. So that's much better. You can still hear everything. It's not so garbling.
Yep.
It was better without.
But then I can't hear you guys at all. How am I supposed to do that? So I can
hear us?
talk to you and I can see you, but I have to do sign language. I can't do anything.
It doesn't work.
Everything, right? So, okay, I'll leave this one down here. Maybe that might be better. I'll just leave the one hanging low. Is that a bit better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll do that then. Okay. It must be on my end, so I really apologize. We'll have to get this off. Yeah. So that's, I think that's what happens with my mom, because having the excess in certain things, that probably comes from not having when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's just something fun. We're getting too serious. All right, Sam, what personality trait has gotten you into the most trouble?
Well, I think that's a really tricky one, because I was always very boring as a girl, very well behaved. So I think of anything, it was kind of not, because I do tend to be quite reserved and quiet, is actually not speaking up. And so if there ever anything went wrong, it was because I didn't say something. Still kind of,
that got you into trouble. So by not talking, you got into trouble by not talking.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, well, why didn't you say? And why didn't you tell us that was going on? Or why didn't you speak up to support that person? So if I look back and there's something that now I have to say, sometimes it's not best just to turn a blind eye and be quiet. You need to speak up.
So I would never have thought that about you.
Yeah.
Never. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you a second one. What's the best Halloween costume you've ever had?
Oh, best Halloween costume. That's interesting, because Halloween isn't such a big thing in the UK.
No, it's not.
So it tends to be all kind of witches and tends to be much more a thing for the kids.
Yeah.
I would say actually the most fun one was it was kind of like a dress up party. It was actually for one of our incentive trips. And we actually dressed as the Flintstones. So my husband was Fred Flintstone and I was Wilma. And that was so fun, because I had the whole orange wig and dress. And you think this is going to be ridiculous. And just because everyone made such an effort, I thought, yeah, I enjoyed being her for the evening. That was good.
Okay, so Pat, would you rather be invisible, or would you rather be able to read minds? Which
I would not want to be able to read minds. I mean, there's times I think I would, but yeah, I do not want to hear every single thought about me.
I know what you were going to say. You were keeping it clean. Well, but I know what was going to come out there.
Yeah. We all know. Do you ever think at times that, thoughts are going through your head? I thought this, and I thought, it's a really good thing people cannot read my thoughts. And it could be that, you're having a meeting with somebody and he's 20 years younger than you. You're thinking, oh my God, this guy is so attractive. And you're like his mother or something. And then I think,
well, you're not dead, Pat. I mean, you're allowed to look,
Well, I wouldn't want, it would be so embarrassing if they could read my mind. But so I would say, I don't think we should be able to read each other's minds. We all need a little bit of privacy. I don't know that I'd want to be invisible either, but if I had to choose one, that's what I would go with. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make a very awkward conversation, and if you're really attractive and like, I know what you're thinking. That's like that movie. What was it? What Men Want? No, What Women Want? That one with Mel Gibson.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie.
Saying, I mean, he was like, she's trying to be all professional. Like, yeah, I know it.
Yeah, exactly my point.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Sam, what's your favorite word? Or do you not have one?
Sorry, I missed the first one. Was that my favorite color?
What was your favorite word?
Favorite word? Well, I think it would have to be happy. Mm-hmm. You'll see from behind me, stuff's happy, and just, I see that word a lot. I think I'm very conscious of it. I'm always like, is everybody happy? It's a word I use a lot. I kind of mean it in different contexts, but yeah, the word happy is my happy place.
Yeah, that would be good. Okay, so, all right, this is just throwing that out there for anybody. If you could kill any fashion trend forever, what would it be? Is there any fashion trend that you
Oh,
think you have to follow or something you kill and not want it to ever be around ever again?
if I could go back a little while when my boys were all like 9, 10, 11, and that pants hanging down in these baggy pants, I hated that. They slump along and all you ever wanted to say was pull up your pants. It was the stupidest. It doesn't affect me, and I was able to let it go. I remember my mother commenting on it, like, why do you let them wear those pants? It's like, there's so many other things to fight about with my kids. But it was the dumbest. I still sometimes see these guys that wear them like,
I know. And like their whole rear end's hanging out, and it's like they can't even walk. I'm like, okay, I understand it's a fashion statement to show the top of your underwear, but your whole push
they're shuffling
right
to hold your pants up.
and it's just at the bottom of your butt cheeks, and I'm like, A, that's got to be cold. B, you're not protecting anything. And C, I'm like, how do you get your wallet? I mean, it's down by your ankles. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, you know? I'm like, no, pull up your pants. I mean, they're supposed to go up here for a reason. Sam, you got any?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It seems ridiculous. But also flares, you know, the whole 70s flares, and everyone's like, oh, they're coming back. I just think I just hate that look.
Well, you can't see your shoes then. I mean, why
What was
spend all
that?
that money on shoes if you're wearing flare pants? You can't see your shoes.
Right.
I know. I'm not a huge shoe fan myself. I never even thought of that as a benefit potentially, but
Yeah, I know you're not a shoe fan.
Exactly.
I can do that. Mine would be pantyhose. Like that's a torture device.
Yeah.
You'll never see me. I don't think. Well, you see me wearing a dress maybe in the summer because I don't have to wear them and I can wear sandals. But I will never wear pantyhose. If I've got to go somewhere in the winter and it's cool, I'm wearing pants all the way. They are not comfortable. I don't care who says they are. They're horrible. Men don't walk around being sucked in with a tensor bandage for 8-10 hours a day, and they're hot and they're itchy and they're sweaty. Like, no, that's just that we don't do that. Men's clothes are comfortable. Like their socks are comfortable. They wear pants that are loose. You know, they wear a shirt and then the tie. The tie is probably the only thing that might be a little bit of a bother, but they can loosen it up. But really, they get to wear comfy clothes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And look at all that stuff that we got to suck and nip and tuck and button and pull and chemicals and things like that. No.
Yeah.
I think if men wear pantyhose just for 1 week going to work, there's a whole new manufacturing process going on there if they work just for a week.
The other advantage with men's clothing is that their sizing is consistent.
Oh, yeah.
Like I ordered, believe it or not, can you imagine ordering a pair of jeans online? Like they're all different sizes, right? You could range in the size you wear, whereas through this shutdown, I ordered my husband a pair of jeans and he put them on, they fit, like because it's his waist size.
Yeah.
You know, and then I actually ordered myself something in a few pairs of shorts, but they had to go back. Because I never know which of 2 to 3 sizes I'll be. It depends on the brand.
Yeah.
I'm so short. I'm only like 4'11 and a half. Like I'm not even 5 feet. So I'm like, they're short waisted, and then there's Andrea. Like I'm like below that. I mean, it's just there's normal petite clothing, and then there's like I have a whole different category onto my own. So it is so difficult to buy clothing.
So you must wear really high heels the whole time because I just never think of you being that short.
I'm just loud.
To me.
I'm just loud. No, seriously, because I'm loud and I talk a lot and I'm a little bossy. People think I'm taller. They really do because I'm a tiny. And I'm not like a size 0. Like I'm full bodied everywhere. So I don't look. I don't look young. Like there's people that are tiny and short, and they're small in stature. They're small with their sizing, and they just look like they're little. They always look like they're teenagers, and I don't look like that because I have curves. Too many, but I have curves, and I'm very loud, so I don't look. The highest shoe that I typically wear whenever I go anywhere is 3 inches because I can't walk in anything taller than that anymore. I mean, I used to, but I typically can't. But that's what I have to wear. And then that only puts me like maybe 5'1.5", 5'2". Like I'm still on the short end. Clothes are brutal. I have like 4 stores I can buy from, and then that's it. I'm tapped out. There's nothing there. So it's not nice. And ordering stuff online, that's lots of fun. I have become the people at the Shoppers Drug Mart at the Canada Post Office. I go like almost every week. They know me by name because stuff comes in online and stuff's got to go back because it doesn't fit. Even if I measure, if I do everything, it doesn't fit. So it's clothes clothes are difficult. I try to wear things that are, stretchy-ish because I know it's going to fit where it's got to fit. Clothes are nasty. That'd be the one thing that I would like to be is just, I would like to have that extra 3 inches just in my spine so that my clothes could fit. It would be amazing to walk into a store and just buy off the rack and go home. Like that rarely happens.
Yeah, never thought of that.
No, and
Doesn't work. I can only think of a handful of times that happened. We went grad shopping with my daughter last year, and she's 5'4", 5'3.5", so she's just under that petite category. And we were shopping for her, but she's very, very tiny. And she's got lots of she's got thighs, so she's very tiny. And we were shopping, looking at these stores, looking at all these different dresses, and she put this one dress on, which is the one that we bought, which was over budget, but she put it on, and it was like it was made for her. It would just fit her everywhere that needed to be fit. All we had to do was just adjust the straps because they were just falling down. That was it, and a little bit of the hem at the back. But I mean, it was fabulous, and like that does not happen. And it was this pink, iridescent kind of color, not anything that she wanted. And looked at her, and I said, "You know what? I'm going to buy it because it fits you. This doesn't happen for you and I. This is a sign. Let's not look a gift horse in the mouth here. Let's just get this. We'll go home and we'll get it done." Oh, but it's too much. I'm like, I don't care. Like, what's it going to cost me to buy something and have to get it altered, completely rebuilt from scratch? I'm like, no, this is what we're doing. Oh, Linda Valeric is here. Sorry, Linda, I didn't see you there, and I'm going to say hello now. Alrighty, so let's get into something let's get some fun. All right. Okay. If you could start a rumor about yourself, what would it be? Can you go first? Hey, mine would be that I'm tall. That would be mine. I'm tall. Doesn't have to be a bad one. It can be a good one. It's just a rumor. Rumors don't have to be bad. They just have to be not true.
Mine's a little bit lame, but it would certainly shock people if I started rumor that I started eating meat again.
I'm sorry.
No, actually, probably no. Actually,
you started eating meat.
Yeah, it would actually probably shock people if I said I stopped drinking wine.
Nobody would believe that.
Inquiry.
And I'm not implying that you're a lush, but nobody would believe that you don't drink wine.
Yeah, that's true. But my husband sometimes dreams that he's like, "Oh, I had a dream last night that you liked meat again. We had a steak together." And I'm like, "No, not happening."
Your husband's happy.
You're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
For how long?
Since my youngest, so 20 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. And your husband's been dreaming of having a steak for 20 years?
Oh, no, he still has.
Oh.
Thing, but I think he imagines we're going to go for this romantic meal and have a steak. Not happening.
Do you eat fish? Because my daughter's a pescatarian.
Yeah, I do eat fish. So now he's in a family with my two daughters. So one daughter's vegan, one's vegetarian. Sometimes eats fish like me, probably stricter than me now, and then there's me that eats fish. So he feels like he's completely outnumbered. They used to both, until they were about 18, both of them, well, 15, say, they both ate meat. So I was the odd one, but now they've kind of switched over. It's like, oh, I'm the odd one out.
And why did you decide to not eat meat? Like it was a conscious choice. It's been 20 years. Did something happen, or was it?
Yeah, it was. I started feeling really uncomfortable with it and the whole eating animals, and that was kind of always in the back of my mind. And then and it was one of those things when I was pregnant with both girls. It was like, make sure you've got your iron. So I was like, get over it, Sam. Just eat what you need to have good nutrition. And then actually, it was the summer after Anna was born. We were actually in France, and I was eating cold meat. I think it was turkey or ham. And I was like, oh, I think that's off. That tastes so awful. And my husband said, no, that's really good. That's really fresh. It's not some processed stuff. That's really good. I was like, well, if this is what it tastes like, I know I'm not going to eat this anymore. And I just thought I'd try it for a month. And I probably would have done it sooner, but I had this real hang up that if I didn't eat turkey at Christmas, I was going to ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, you know what? I must say that was the hardest with my daughter was, we could kind of, in our own family, we could make it work and try to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
When Christmas came and we would go to somebody's house for like
yes.
a family
You
thing.
feel so awkward.
I make a really wicked vegetarian meatloaf. and I've mastered it, and that's what she gets when I make it, and that's what she gets at Christmas, and that's what we take when we go to somebody's house.
Yeah, and it's so easy now. But at the time, I was like, "Oh, I'll ruin it for everyone," and really, it wasn't that important. Nobody cared anyway. It's fine. I should have done it earlier.
Yeah.
It's so much more common now.
It is more common now. Yeah, so it is easier because one of the ingredients that I use, it's a falafel already kind of made, and then it's already she likes that soy ground beef, but I remember eating that. Oh gosh, maybe 15 years ago. It used to come in a package and it was dry, and you had to cook it in water and flavor it. And I remember eating that, trying that, and using that in sort of recipes at the time. So I take that kind of thing, and I take the falafel, and then I can take beans, and I can just like the white beans because they're really creamy, and I just kind of grind them up a little bit. Everything gets mixed together, and I put all the same spices that I put in a meatloaf that I make traditionally: ketchup, Worcestershire, mustard, onions, salt, pepper, garlic. Everything goes in there, and the only thing you have to do, and eggs, lots of eggs to bind it all together. And when you cook it, you always have to keep adding oil to it, like olive oil, so it dries out. And then at the very end, another trick for meatloaf is you take tomato soup, and at the very end, the last 10 minutes, you put tomato soup on top, and it kind of makes like a sauce and crust. And then the soup cooks in with the juices of the meat or the juices of the oil, and then you can kind of baste it like that, and then that's what she gets. That's how I do it. So it's beans, and it's the soy, and it's just falafel, and it's all healthy, it's all whatever, and it tastes great. I mean, we eat it. And that's what she gets when we go to. So everybody's got their turkey with their gravy, and she's got her meatloaf. That's what we do.
Excellent.
And it doesn't smell. Have you tried some of those fake turkey things? Oh, the stench was horrible. Trying to, I thought that was horrible. I'm not doing that. I thought no, you could eat fish. You could eat something else. That's that. This is definitely not what we're all right, let's see what else we got. So that was.
I want to hear Pat's rumor.
Sorry.
I want to hear Pat's rumor.
Pat's rumor. So something about you that people wouldn't believe. Doesn't have to be bad. Sam's no longer drinking wine. Sam's given up wine.
Yeah.
See, Pat's laughing because she knows you. She's like, that's just not true.
I don't know, like a rumor that people wouldn't believe.
That's a hard one.
It really is.
Okay, let's skip that one. All right, we'll go to something.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. All right. So, if you could have a movie made of your life, who would be the character who would play you? The actress who would play you? Do you have anybody in mind?
Well, my husband always said, and this is very flattering because I do not think it's true, but he's always said that I look. It's almost embarrassing to say that I look like Sandra Bullock. So
no, you know what? I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
The dark hair and the dark eyes and sort of that girl next door look, I guess. But he's said that since we got together, and so and I like her. I think she's. I know.
I said you keep him.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the one that came to mind.
But I think even your mannerisms are probably a little like her too. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. You know what? It's this earphone. I'm going to switch back again. It's this one here because that's much better. And there's no static. Just a little bit of reverb. We will get that next week. All right. So let's see what we have here. How about what important skill do you think everyone should have? If there was something that you think everybody should know, maybe from school or before they go out in the world, what's something you think everybody should know how to do?
Everyone should know how to do laundry.
Yes.
I say that just because I was really shocked that when both girls went to school, they had to teach other girls how to do laundry. And I was like, what? They're 18? They've left home and they didn't know how to do laundry? And I kind of think, how did that happen? And of course, my girls were like, well, maybe their mother did their laundry. Well, okay, but even if they did, they should have taught them. I mean, I remember Georgia telling me that two girls were watching her. And she was like, this is embarrassing. Why are they staring at me? And in the end, they were like, we're really bored, but can you show us how you use the washing machine? We've never done this before. And they must have been so embarrassed. And Georgia said, what's more, they've been at
They're
school 8
not
weeks already.
embarrassed. They're not. They're not.
Yeah.
They
These
just don't
two
know.
girls, they were.
Yeah.
Like,
So I was 13, and my part-time job when I was 13 while my mom was working was I got paid to clean the house so she could get rid of her house cleaner for the summer. And part of that was doing the laundry for 5 people. So I was doing that at 13 years of age. And then during the school year, I had to be home for 4:30 at the latest so I could cook dinner and have it on the table for 5:30 when my parents got home from work. So
Wow.
that's what I was doing before I
Impressive.
did other stuff
Yeah.
and babysat. And so my children learned how to cook and clean and do laundry and do everything. And by the time they got to be 13 and 14, they could do it all. But when I met my husband, no, my husband did none of that stuff. His mother did it all. He would walk up the stairs to his bedroom. He would take off his clothes, throw them outside on the floor, not even in a laundry hamper. Oh, this was crazy. And then she would swoop by, and she worked. She was a hairdresser. She worked 3, 4 days a week. She would swoop by, pick everything up, tidy up his room, do all of his laundry. I met him. He was 21. I mean, I was older. He was 21, and it was just that is not happening here. As my mother would say, "What are your legs broke? You can't get up and do something for yourself?" Like that didn't happen. And I remember when we were together, and I would go to work, working in cosmetics, and I was gone like 5 days a week working, and I would have a day off in the middle of the week, so I would cook and clean and do all that stuff. And then when I worked on weekends, and he had his days off, he would go, take photographs, and he would go to the gym and work out, and he would go for bike rides. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa! We're both eating, we're both making messes, and you've got to do stuff here too. He didn't know how to do laundry. I would write down a little note on how to separate everything, how much went in what machine, and how to do it. He did not know how to do laundry. And I was like, and every time I complained about my husband, my mother-in-law would look at me and she'd say, well, you can always send him home. I was like, no, I can just retrain him.
yeah.
And now, 25 years in, he and Oprah, they're like stains. Give them to me. It's a mission. They know all the stuff. They know all the tools. They work at it. It's a calling for them. They have to make sure that stain comes out. So, he's laundry diva now. I mean, it took a lot of years to get him to that point, but oh yeah, now he's like on laundry. I don't do laundry anymore. I mean, I will fold it. He brings it to me to fold, but he collects it. He does it. He washes it. He gets it all done. I'll just look at him and say, yeah, I don't have any more pajama pants. Is anybody doing laundry? He's like, oh, I'll get on that. That way he goes. I'm like,
excellent.
I mean, now wasn't like that 15 years ago, but now. So yeah, laundry is a good thing. And there's always laundry. It doesn't matter. You can be finished laundry and put it all away and have not a stitch of anything in the cupboard. And within days, it's like the pile's like this again. It's never ending. I think we should all just be naked for a while. There's a nudist colony and nudist camp up here in north of Burlington. I think we should all just buy one of those and save on some soap and some water. That was funny. What did my mom always say? She'd always say she couldn't be a stripper because instead of, they throw money at you and say, take it off. She says, put it on, put it on. I'm going to have her on the show one day. She's a riot. She could just run the whole thing on her own. Okay, we're at 3:50. So we can be done or we can do a few more questions and go right till 4 o'clock. I just want to find out what you ladies would like to do.
I'm good to continue.
Yeah, same here.
You having fun? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how about I don't want to enter wealthy because you guys have many, because you do really good things. So what advice? Nah. What bad habits of other people drive you crazy?
Ooh, right.
Sam's got something now. Okay, I'll let Pat go first because Sam's. I can see that. Nair calls them hamsters. When your mind goes, you can see them turning in there. So Nair always says you got hamsters going on in there. So.
Did you say what happens when other people
what
drive?
Bad habits of other people drive you crazy? Bad habits that just send you around the bend.
Oh.
It's got to be something.
I saw a lady. We went for a walk downtown Burlington, and there was a woman trudging down Brant Street with a mask on, but it was here, and her cigarette was hanging out of her mouth above it. We went by. I had to put my head down, and I said, I wanted a picture of that so badly. And he goes, she's so concerned about her health, but it was hilarious. I don't know.
Honey, that ain't helping. That's not how you do that.
It's
How you
just
do that.
stupid people, I think.
Yeah, did you see that video that was going around on Facebook? There was a woman in a store and she'd cut a hole in the mask. And she was like, so I can speak, you can't hear me when it's...
Yeah. Honestly, the little people that make little noises, one of my sons, they all used to crack their knuckles, and I'm sure they did.
I hate that.
And another one would make little, really quiet noises with his tongue and his teeth, and I'd be like, stop it. It just drove me. Little small noises like that really irritate me. So, and he'd be like, what? I'm not doing anything. And I know he knew it. Just, it's like chalk on a blackboard to me.
It's like when they have allergies or they have a cold or a sniffle, allergies, and they get me like,
yeah.
And you're like, and it's 10 minutes, and it's like, oh, for the love of
blow your nose.
Would you just get a Kleenex? Would you blow your nose? Would you just take something? I mean, what? This is like, it's driving me mental. Like, just do something. Fix it.
Have you ever been with a professional person that keeps sniffing? I've had that happen, and I think, is it going to be rude? Because I always have Kleenex because I have terrible allergies. I always have tissues everywhere, every pocket. Is it rude to say, would you like a tissue? And I have done it, and they said, no thanks.
You know those people that talk, and I don't know how they talk, but there are some people that talk, and this is horrible, but that they have that, it's like the goober sort of in the middle of the mouth, like the corner of the mouth, like it's just like it all kind of collects. You know, that's like that yellowy white stuff that just kind of string it, and you're listening to them, and you're like,
we're really getting real here.
You just want to go.
Hang
on a second. Let me just fix that for you. And it's just like,
funny.
How do you talk and not know that you have this crud hung on the side of your mouth? It's just like, how do you not know that that's there? Would you not feel that? I'm like,
Get a mask on quick.
Sorry?
Get a mask on quick.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And not with the hole in the middle either, because I'll still see the stringy bits hanging down when you're talking. Oh, Jesus. Okay, Sam, what do people do that drive you crazy?
All of those things. I think seeing somebody eat with their mouth open when they're talking, when they're eating.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, either eat or talk, but not both at the same time.
Oh, you sound like my husband.
Yeah.
It's his pet peeve. And I get it, you're not supposed to do it, and I know, but sometimes I get really, really excited that there's something I have to say, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it, though. Yeah, I know, it's gross.
Yeah.
I don't like when it's driving related, but I don't like when people don't use a signal. Like, I'm driving on the road by myself, and I will signal to switch a lane, and there's nobody around. I just, I'm supposed to just, understand what you're doing, or the people that, like, pick a lane, any lane, or stop signs are optional. Like, I mean, I just like people to follow the rules. I really am a rule girl. I mean, if there's rules there and you're supposed to do something and we're all doing it and you decide that you're not doing it, I'm like, like who made you queen today? No. We all have to do the same rules today. We're all in the same thing today. Why is there one set for you and one set for everybody else? And so people that just don't follow the rules, it's one thing if you don't understand them, one thing if you don't know what they are, but if you know that they're there and you decide to go off reservation, just drives me batty. I cannot stand that. I just cannot handle that at all. it builds and it builds and it builds. But don't do it. We all have to do the same thing. They're there for a reason. They're not made to be broken. They're there to, to do stuff. We all have to follow it. If I have to signal, you have to signal. If I have to, wash my hands, you have to wash your hands. We all have to do the same. That's just drives me batty. All right. One last one, and then I guess we're going to be done. So what's the worst job you ever had, Sam? The worst job ever that you can remember? And you're like, I can't do this anymore. I have to go.
Well, as summer jobs, when I was growing up, I used to work, my dad had a store. We lived in this small little fishing town. So I used to work in his store, which I liked. And then I was like, okay, I need to earn some more money during the week. So I had a job that I was actually a door-to-door seller of cream, cream that you put in coffee.
Okay.
But in the UK, nobody has cream and coffee. They have milk. So you would be going around selling this cream, and you would have this set number of houses you would go to. Average age is 65 plus. And you'd go and knock on the door. these ladies would come and they were like, oh, I don't really need any cream today. And sometimes I'd walk miles and not make any sales. And and the weather in Southwest Scotland wasn't always that good. But then I learned one time, one woman was like, you come here every week. And I'm like, I can stop coming. No, I want you to come, because they were lonely as well. And they'd want a little chat. And she was like, I don't know what to do with all this cream. So I was like, okay, well, I'll bring you a recipe next week. And so I went round with a recipe. And they all started using the cream. So my sales went skyrocketing because everyone started buying. And I just find it kind of ironic that here I am, many, many years later, and that's what I do. I sell cream. Okay, it's cream for your face, but then it was cream you poured in your coffee or cookie.
So you were very creative there back then, even at that young age, because you decided that you had to do something to make this bad thing turn out well. And you were just not going to just do the same old. You had to do something different because you didn't have an option. You had to sell this stuff. It wasn't like you could.
And you weren't allowed to knock on anybody's door that wasn't in your route, and you weren't allowed to. There was no Facebook or anything then. It was just literally knocking on the door. But I used to dread Thursdays, but towards the end, I really started to enjoy it. But it was tough to begin with. I learned a lot doing that job.
Yeah. Okay, Pat, what was the worst job you ever did?
I think it's probably similar in that I was going door to door and with another girl, and we were doing what was called enumeration. And so this was way back, probably like I probably was barely like 15 maybe, so 1969 or 70. And we had to just collect data. It was now how they mail out the surveys, but we had to go door to door, and there was it took a long time, and it was
and ask all the questions.
Yeah, and it was there was a lot of times people wouldn't be home, and I just remember, and it was summer, it was July and August, and it was so hot. I was young enough that my parents were going on vacation, and I wasn't allowed to stay home alone, so I had to quit. I was so happy that I had to quit that job. Otherwise, I think I've been pretty lucky.
I worked. I got a part-time job. I think I was about 16. I must have been 15 or 16. And it was working at a little cookie and muffin place. It was called Treats. And it was in the mall. And it was at the bottom of the mall, at the bottom of the escalator. But I had to make...
In what city?
In Bramalea City Center.
Yeah, I know. I remember Treats.
Yeah, and so at the bottom of the escalator, there was a Treats little store there. Well, I hated working there because I had to make coffee. I don't like coffee. I don't
I love coffee.
like the smell of coffee. And I had to make coffee like one after another, and then I wasn't allowed to bake anything there. I wasn't qualified to bake anything. It all came out of a mix. Just had to put on the tray and put it in there. But I had to, constantly clean up, and they had all the mixes, and they had all the muffins, and they had all the cookies. I mean, I got to eat all the broken cookies and take them home. That was good. But I just hated having to make all the coffee all day long, and people were nasty. I used to have to work at flea markets. Do you remember when the malls were closed on Sundays? Yeah, malls weren't open on Sundays. And they only had the flea markets in the malls. And the people in the flea markets, when they would come out, they were some nasty SOBs, man. They were not happy people. The people who were there, buying. And, they were just rude and nasty and mean. I'm really short, and the counter's really high, and making the coffee. I remember there was a machine that had these slushy drink things, and you had to fill up the top with the mix. Well, they had to get a ladder with me because I had to climb up on the ladder to get to the top of this machine to dump this mix into it because I was too tiny to stand there and kind of pour it upside down. So, I hated that job.
How long did you do that for?
Oh, goodness. It was a friend of my mom's. That's how I got the job. And I did that for grade 10. So it was like a good 6-7 months. And I would take the bus after school. The bus was 3:30. Take me like 45 minutes to get there. Start at 4:30. Work till 9:30. And my parents would pick me up and then take me home. And then I had to work on Sundays at the time. And I just... And I couldn't...
Yeah, we all came out of these jobs with skills.
And to this day, I don't drink coffee, don't like coffee, don't eat coffee flavored anything. Like, it's just, mocha is not my thing. It's just, don't like it. So I'm just, after drinking all those coffees, turned me right off. Man. You would think it would have turned me off chocolate chip cookies, but no, not that one bit. No. I must have made about 12 dozen chocolate chip cookies a whole month of April. That's all I was doing was baking cookies every other day. I was baking cookies for everybody. But yeah, so that's all I did. So, okay, so I guess we can be almost at 4:03, and I'm sorry about all the technical problems. I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to
Life.
notify the people what's happening because I'm not sure what's from my end, but it must be. I was using this stuff yesterday and it was fine, so maybe they were having trouble with their service because I was having some issues getting onto it. So thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for listening to my echoey voice. Thanks, Sam, for joining us. Thanks, Pat, for joining us. And Pat, you did really well. You didn't even have to disappear and run away very much. I'm the only one done talking shit. That's not bad. That's not bad. So thank you so much, ladies. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks, everyone who tuned in. And yeah, so this is just 3 p.m. on Thursday, just to get the weekend started, as Norella calls it, happy Thursday's Eve or Friday's Eve or something like that she calls it.
Oh, it's the eve of Friday Eve.
Yeah,
Cool.
Just to kick off the weekend, let's go, because by noon on Friday, I'm pretty much tapped. It's like already Saturday for me. That's pretty much what I get like on Fridays. So thanks so much. I'm going to end the broadcast now. And
thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.